But just before then, they told me they had 14 residents. They actually suffer from autism, schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is like coin. When somebody has coin, is a mental illness. I'm very sure that if you land an interview with Signet Care, you're going to be asked this same set of questions that they asked me, especially if you're going for the role of a support worker. And they made me understand that yes, they do give sponsorship. Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. Honestly, the number of interviews that I have attended since I arrived in the UK in the past less than 3 months, it has surpassed the number of interviews I ever attended back home, like in my 7 years after graduation. So you can imagine what struggle is. So guys, I'm going to be sharing the job interview for the role of a support worker with one of the companies that I said offer sponsorship. So if you have been following my videos, I made several videos about companies in the UK that are offering sponsorship for care assistants, and one of them happens to be Signet Care. So I applied, and that's why I keep coming here to your faces every now and then. That if you get your CV right, if you're able to tailor your CV appropriately, and you will land a job interview, what is left for you is to smash those interview questions, and then you can dialogue and liaise with your company or your employer whether they are going to sponsor you to come from overseas. And for students, because we all know the struggles that students in the United Kingdom are going through now, I mean immigrants have come to study, you cannot get sponsorship while you are still studying, and a lot of people are graduating from school now. I know quite a number of people that are completing or that are concluding their master's degree now, and some of them want to stay back. Tailor your CV, then apply, and hopefully when you get an interview date, rest assured that they will ask you this set of questions, because the questions have like a questionnaire. There's a questionnaire that they were filling as they were asking the questions. So I am very sure that if you land an interview with Signet Care, you're going to be asked the same set of questions that they asked me, especially if you're going for the role of a support worker. I was asked 8 questions, just 8 of them, about 30 minutes we were done. So the first question I was asked was, I should introduce myself, I should state why I applied to Signet Care and why I want to work as a support worker. And trust me, everybody likes stories. So I had to tell them the story that motivated me to want to be a support worker. So I told them I'd volunteered back home. I had a sister, or I still have that sister, an area sister that gave birth to a child with autism, and it was quite challenging for her. So I was involved in the care of this our first son, and at a point, she was pregnant of the second child. She had a second child, and it was like I was taking the forefront in the care of this first child. So it was at that point I knew that I had something for people that are vulnerable, and then I took it a step further by going to volunteer at a nearby hospital to work as a healthcare assistant there. After saying all of these things, one thing you need to know is that before you go for any interview, find out the profile of the company that is going to interview you. So I know that for Signet Care, they have some values. So I told them all of those things. You can also find out if you are going to be attending any interview. You can find out for your company. So basically, that was how I answered that part. Next question I was asked was, if a service user is trying to abscond or run away from the home, what would I do? But just before then, they told me they had 14 residents. They actually suffer from autism, schizophrenia, and some have epilepsy. Schizophrenia is like coin. When somebody has coin, is a mental illness, and it is not uncommon for them to see that some of the residents want to run away, like they want to abscond from the home. That if I happen to be on duty and a resident tries to run away from the home, what would I do? So I said, first thing, I won't run after that resident, because if I start chasing the residents, that person might run into a car, into a vehicle, and that might cause something that is fatal. Do you get? So I told them what I would do is to simply try and manage the situation by being calm, and then I would try to walk towards the direction where that resident is running towards, and I'll be talking to the resident as I'm going, trying to calm the residents down not to run. as well as trying to make a call through to the emergency. I'll dial 999. I'll probably dial the police. And at the same time, after speaking with the emergency, I would call the office to let them know what is currently going on. And that was how I answered that second question. So these questions are in no particular order. So the third question was that if a service user get upset in the home and begins to display some challenging behaviors, which are expected because of their conditions, that how would I handle it? I told them that from my experience as I arrived in the UK, I've worked with people with dementia, some people with some challenging behaviors, and of course, I would be privy to their care plan, having known the care plan and the preferences of each of these clients. I should be able to know what best calms each of them down. For some people, it may be to sing some songs or to play some music for them so that they can be calm. For some people, it may mean to keep reassuring them so that they can be calm. For some people, it may be to just engage them and try to change the discussion, topic of discussion, deviate their attention, and that way you'll be able to manage their changing behaviors as much as possible. So that was how I answered that third question. Then the next question, they said, what do I understand as the role of a support worker? Like, what are the roles? What do support workers do? So I let them know that, first of all, support workers, as the name implies, is support people, care for people, to show people empathy, to promote people's independence, to safeguard them, to prevent them from harms, to care for them, giving them personal care, assisting them with feeding, assisting them with laundering, as much as possible to just take good care of them and to ensure that they are living their best lives, they are happy and they are healthier. So basically, that was how I answered that question. But if you're a support worker here watching me, or you have an experience, or you have good answers to these questions, please don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section. So the fifth question I was asked was, having listed the different conditions of the residents in their home, that what are the challenging behaviors that I expect when I resume, if I'm fortunate to resume the role, that what challenging behaviors do I expect from their residents? So I said, first of all, I would expect that people who are suffering from epilepsy might have crises sometimes. So I shouldn't be scared when I see somebody like falls and the person starts to shake and starts to bring something out of the mouth and all that. I shouldn't be surprised. Then I said some might be happy sometimes. 1 minute somebody is happy and the next minute they are, sad and maybe teary, some signs of depression. I should expect to see that. I should expect some verbal abuse. Yeah. I should expect some physical abuse, like pouring tea on a carer, all those kind of things. I should expect some shouting. I should expect some discriminatory abuse because of my color, of course. I should expect it. That's just the honest truth. So, and the next question says, if I find out that a service user is being abused, generally, maybe in the home or in their personal homes, if I find out that a service user is being abused, what line of action would I take? And this is how I answered that question as well. I said the first thing is to speak with that service user privately, and then to state my concerns, what I've observed or what I have discovered, and then to allow the service user to say his or her own mind, allow them to talk freely and not interrupt them, and not also get upset, even if what they are saying can want to trigger my emotions. I should try as much as possible to be calm and allow them to talk expressly. And having done that, I should ask them what they would like. I'm going to ask them what they would like to do about what has happened. So if it is somebody that wants to take an action, I could suggest to them where they can seek help. Like, for instance, if it's something that is life-threatening, if the abuse is like maybe a physical abuse or domestic abuse that's life-threatening, I could suggest that we could inform the police. We could call the police, the emergency number. If it is something that has to do with the person's health, even if the person is saying no, that he or she is not willing to take any action, I should still go ahead to report that case because it has to do with the health of this service user. So if it has to do with the health, we could inform the GP so that the person can get immediate help. So we could inform the general practitioner, or we could even inform the social worker. For instance, it has to be like a financial abuse or whatever. And I'm not going to let the person know that I'm not going to tell anybody. No, because I'll obviously tell somebody. And then I should ask the person whether the person is willing to take the action him or herself, or whether the person would want me to act on his or her behalf. And having done all of those, I should document whatever is being done or whatever has happened. I'm going to document it. So that was how I answered that particular question. The next question says, describe where you offered a satisfying service to a client, like where I cared for a client that was satisfied. And I told them I once had a one-to-one support with somebody that had not spoken for days, but on arrival, when I stepped in, when I stepped in slowly, extended my handshake to the person, and the person also accepted my handshake, and the person said thank you, and everyone was really surprised that this service user spoke after a long time. Like, that made me really satisfied. And another thing was the person I was caring for before I moved to the UK. When I was coming, we shed some tears with the mom of that boy and all that. And the last question is, if you take a service user on socials is if you take a service user outside, maybe to the park, outdoor, and he or she tries to display some challenging behaviors or tries to run away, what would I do? And that was quite similar to a question they asked before. So I gave the same approach, like I wouldn't run after the person. I'll just call the emergency, depending on whether the person's display is really getting out of hand. I could call the emergency, and then I'll definitely call the office to inform them what is happening. If I'm unable to calm the person, I'll stay calm, try to calm the service user. But if it is getting out of hand and the person is not responding, I might just have to call the emergency and then call the office. So basically, those were the 8 questions that I was asked. Then they asked me a series of other questions that had nothing to do with the interview. Like, they were just general questions, whether I had a car, whether I had the right to work in the UK, and then they asked me, like, that last question, if they ask you, do you have any question for us? So I asked them that when I got a call from them for the interview, I was asked if I needed sponsorship, of which I told them no. But then, giving it a second thought, I would like to register my intention ahead of time, that in case they employ me, I might need their sponsorship later on. It's good that you let them know your intention, so that when that time comes, it won't be like you never told us, you didn't tell us. So I tried to register my intention, and they made me understand that yes, they do give sponsorship. So Signet Care gives sponsorship. I have to do a probation of 3 months. Even if they are going to give me at all, I have to work with them for 3 months under probation, after which they would now decide. So guys, if you are in the UK as students, you are rounding up your master's degree, or you're already done with your master's degree, you're looking for what company to apply to for you to get sponsorship, Signet is one of them. And you can check out my other videos where I mentioned a lot more other companies that offer sponsorship in the United Kingdom. So if you have watched up to this point, thank you so much. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please don't go without smashing your subscribe button. Also, please like this video. You can join my membership for free exclusive offers like your CV review, CV template, even one-to-one consultation. You can join membership. And also, please, there's something called super thanks. Please make use of the super thanks. I hope to see you in my next video.